Hey YouTube, ZeroMagnumX here. This is some Magic the Gathering stuff. This is another crossover video. First, to have a little bit of discussion, the reason I haven't been uploading a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff lately is because really right now Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have a whole lot to offer. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. The only release we got recently was, you know, the X-Saber Power-Up Pack, which isn't that great in my opinion. So, I don't know. I haven't been that much into Yu-Gi-Oh lately. That doesn't mean I've stopped playing it. It doesn't mean I'm transferring to Magic. I just play both, and right now Magic has a lot more to offer with what's coming out and with what's going on. That and locally, Magic is bigger than Yu-Gi-Oh, so it's a nicer game. First off, I have a lot of improvements that I need to do in this game, and I didn't do too bad at the free tournament I went to. I got 7th place out of 18 with this green deck. However, I've made modifications since the 7th place deck, things that I think that would have helped overall when I was playing, which I will go over. And this is slowly becoming a blue-white deck. In fact, that is Jace Belleron on the front, and I pulled him in a booster pack from this, which if you're wanting to start to play, buy this kit. It costs $20 and you get 285 cards, 60 of which are in 4 booster packs, because Magic has 15 card booster packs compared to Yu-Gi-Oh, which has 9 or 5 card boosters. And for $20 you get lands and all kinds of nice goodies. I really thought it was a great investment. I mean, playing the game as long as I have, which I've played this game about as long as I've played Yu-Gi-Oh. However, I did not play competitively until maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. So, with that said, it's a good kit, even for advanced players. Or it even says your own instant collection. 285 cards for $20. I don't know how you can beat that kind of deal. And they're good cards. They're not like crappy cards. So buy that in an intro pack and you can make yourself a pretty good deck. I'm not saying you'll win with it in big tournaments, but for your locals, you'll have fun and you might win a few rounds. It depends on how advanced your area is. In my area, we have tournament decks that cost $400 and $500, like Blue-White Control. It got second, and other stuff like that. And cards that cost $60 in the decks. So, with that all said, those are the kinds of decks that were beating me. This deck is not that much, does not cost that much to make. It's pricey, but it's one of the lower costing decks. This, on the other hand, if it would ever be the full Monty, is going to be expensive. I'm actually buying cards for it tomorrow, and let me think here. 7 cards are going to cost me $80. But it was for Christmas money, and they're cards I want over Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, so that's what I'm getting. And they won't rotate out for like another year. Oh, excuse me. I have a pretty bad cough right now, actually. So, yes, I highly suggest that. If you get what's called a fetch land, you tap it, pay 1 life, search your library for a land, and put it into the play. Those cost about $10. Between me and my girlfriend, and she was kind enough to give me hers, I got 2 of them. So, I mean, that's just, she and I bought one of these and got a fetch land, so there's a $10 rare. And that's kind of pricey in Magic. I mean, the most expensive card in Magic right now for tournament play decks and legal decks is $80. So that gives you any idea. And that's Jace the Mind Sculptor, which he is not. This is Jace Belleron. Look up Jace the Mind Sculptor, though. He's awesome. Sadly, I don't have him. Okay, and this is just something new Magic's coming out with. The Marin side, and then let me open the box here, and then what will be the Phyrexian side. That's the symbol for the Phyrexian. Here, going upside down for a second here. See, it says all will be one. Oh, my camera apparently doesn't turn stuff upside down. and then Weibo and Doors, kind of their logos. So it's kind of neat to see sided factions in a card game, which I thought was really neat. It's unique. A little bit of discussion. People are saying, you know, how Magic sucks and I've lost a subscriber or two because of it, blah blah blah. The thing is, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic both have things I like and I dislike about each game. The thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! That I dislike is that it doesn't have a balancing system. We have the ban list, but we don't have, how to put it, we don't have a system in it to where, you know, the top decks will be crushed, or the top decks can lose to the lower decks. An example is in Magic here, okay? You have a land system and a casting cost system, okay? So that balances the game, and if, you know, you get land screwed, you can have an amazing deck and still lose. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, I would say, maybe 60% deck building for skill, like 30% skill and 10% luck. Magic is more like 40% deck building, 40% skill, and 20% luck. So it's got a little bit higher of a ratio of luck. In Yu-Gi-Oh! The majority of skill goes into deck building and knowing how to play. In Magic, you have to think a lot more. Because, for one, like instants, you can play them from the hand. So you never know whenever your opponent is going to have an instant in hand. In Yu-Gi-Oh! They have to lay their stuff face down, so you always know when it's going to be coming. And Magic, that's not so. That's a huge advantage. I mean, you guys think Battle Fader is kind of scary. You've got to really pay attention to how much mana your opponent has open to play, and, you know, how many cards are in hand. That matters severely. Just so that's some discussion on it. Things I like about Magic: the balancing cost system for good cards. You just don't lay them down, and, you know, get them for free. You've got to debate on what you're going to do with your turn. Like if you've got let's say 8 lands, okay, and you've got a creature that costs 8. A creature that costs 3 and a creature that costs 5, and a nice sorcerer that costs 4, and another creature that costs 1. You know, you've got multiple ways to play, but the question is, what would you play? That huge creature? Or, you know, would you play that nice sorcery in combination with 3-cost sorcery and that 4-cost creature? You've really got to debate on what your moves are. Because of the limited resource, you just don't lay them down. You know, like in Yu-Gi-Oh! You just go to town. In Magic, it's a slower paced thinking game. So that's something I like about it. What I dislike about Magic is also what I like about it. It's kind of strange. I don't like the slow pace of Magic sometimes, because playing Yu-Gi-Oh! You just go to town and you're playing, and, you know, we have shorter rounds, because in Magic you get hour-long rounds. I think in Yu-Gi-Oh! They get, what, 40-minute rounds or something, 50? It's a little bit shorter. I'm not sure. I haven't been to regionals to count, and I can't remember what my friend said. But that's beside the point. So in Magic, it's a lot more specific. That's one thing to consider. I know this is 8 minutes of rant, and I'll get to the deck profiles in a little bit. So that's kind of why I'm into Magic more, though. Is because of the balance system it has. It makes logical sense. You know, draw cards also aren't ridiculously overpriced, like Pot of Duality, and have stupid limitations on them, which I'll get to in the blue-white deck here. And, you know, the casting system is really nice. I like it. But I will go over the deck profile now. I think I'll make a point in the annotations for just the deck video to, like, skip ahead, and I'll mark the time. Gonna start here at 9:40. Ready? Okay, without further ado, here's the deck profile. Okay, 4 Land of War Elves. You've seen these guys from the last video. tap 1, add 1 mana to your pool. 4 guys revenges. I went over that before what these guys are. These parts of the deck really haven't changed. This is the new card. Okay? This is called Overgrown Battlement. It costs 2 and it's a 0/4. I know it's really blurry and hard to see. However, and it's got Defender, which means it can't attack. Not that it matters because it's a 0/4. But you tap it and add a mana to your mana pool for each creature with Defender you control. So he gives you 1, but as soon as you start laying, like, if you have 4 of these on the field, you can easily produce 16 mana to your mana pool if you tap all of them, which is outrageous. Okay, so 4 of those. Okay, this is a Wall of Vines. I only have 1 of it in my entire collection. It costs 1, it's a 0/3 with Defender, and has Reach, which means it can block flying creatures. So I was hoping to get more of those, and because they're pretty nice. The only thing I don't like is that they can be lightning bolted. Okay, Oracle Modea ×2. I already explained what they did in the last video. Garruk Wildspeaker. He's my Planeswalker of the deck. I have 2 of him. Okay, this is where the deck differs. I think in the last video I might have had 4 of these. I've taken them down to 2 because they're not as nice as I thought they were. My friend said that you could kick them off a Summoning Trap, and you cannot, so they're not quite as effective. So 2 of these guys. Okay, 4 Haro. This card's actually more amazing than people give it credit for. It's literally a clutch card for my deck. Okay, 3 Summoning Traps. I bumped them back up to 3 because of the text I made. I put more of what's called Eldrazi in the deck, which are amazing big creatures. Okay, Cultivate I took down to 2. Since I have Overgrown Battlements, I don't need quite as many mana producers as I used to. Okay, here's Emrakul. This guy is the Eldrazi. He is a legendary creature, so only 1 of him on the field can exist. He's 15 for his casting cost. He's a 15/15. He can't be counterspelled whenever you cast him. Not when he comes into play, when you cast him. So you got to pay his mana cost or cast him through other means, not through Summoning Trap. You get a second turn after this one, so keep in mind, guys can't attack on the turn they come out of Magic unless they have haste. He's got Flying, Protection from Colored Spells, and what is called Annihilator 6. Flying means he gets over ground creatures. Simple enough. Protection from Colored Spells means that he can block pretty much anything and not die or whatever. However, he doesn't have protection from their abilities. It's not protection from all colors, it's just colored spells. So that's kind of specific. Like, he can be what a card called Journey to Nowhere, he can be used on him because of its second effect. It's technical card rolling. It's the same thing in Magic that it is in Yu-Gi-Oh! Annihilator means when it attacks, it has to sacrifice how many ever it has Annihilator of, so they have to sacrifice 6 of their cards on the field every time this thing swings. And keep in mind you play 20 life, so when he gets out you should win the game. Okay, so that's Emrakul. Okay, I just wanted to share the big Eldrazi. These guys I'm probably going to trade in for the Wall of Vines if I can get some. I might keep one of them, their Wall of Tanglecord. They're just 0/6 walls for 2, and you pay 1 green and they get Reach, which means they can block flyers. Okay, Artisan of Kozliak. These guys are new and amazing. They only cost 9. They're 10/9. Like I said, you play 20 life, which is nothing for this deck. I mean, turn 4 or 5, I have 9 mana. So it's really amazing. And when you cast it, you can return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. And it's got an Annihilator of 2. So if they kill one of your creatures, you can just yank it back, which is really nice. I'm using 2 of those guys. Okay, Pulitzer of Yillimog. He's a little bit more expensive. He costs 11 for 9/9, but he's got a higher Annihilator. Hey, that rhymed. Of 3. So whenever it swings, they have to sacrifice 3, and it says it can't be blocked except for 3 or more creatures. So they have to block him with 3 creatures if they don't want to take 9 damage. So he's kind of a huge play. He's one that I love to cast off of a Summoning Trap because he doesn't have any special things when he's casted into play. Summon Trap, like I said in the last one, I reveal the top 7 cards of my library and put a creature card among them into play. So, that's us. Okay, Yolamog Crusher. I was debating on taking him in and out, but I'm putting him back in because he costs 8, which is, easy for me to get out of my deck. I found out, and it is an 8/8 and has Annihilator too. So he's got a pretty high Annihilator for a cheap mana cost. So I think he's one that's kind of underlooked. So that's the deck, minus the forests, 4 artwork forests, which are nice. Normal forests look like that, they got the symbol on the bottom. Okay, well, next video, or next deck, and I'll go on this one kind of quickly. I'm not sure how long YouTube allows us now, and I know I've been talking for 15 minutes, so this is deck profile number 2. This is my blue-white deck. Okay, that's Jace Belleron. He's a Planeswalker. They come in with loyalty counters, as I explained in the last video. If you didn't watch the last video, please watch it. His +2, it says each player draws a card. His -1, target player draws a card, so his free draws for you. And -10, which you should never have to use. Target player puts the top 20 cards of his or her library, in other words, the deck, into his or her graveyard, which isn't all that good. Because there's a card called Sword of Body of Mind that, if the creature is equipped to, deals combat damage. They take the top 10 cards, put in the graveyard. You get a 2/2 wolf creature token into play, and the guy it's attached to gets +1/+1, or +2 or +2, something like that. I have the card in here. And gets protection from blue and white, or blue and green, sorry. So, that's an amazing card, overall. Aether Depths, these are subbed for other creatures right now. They cost 3, but when they hit the battlefield, you return a creature to its owner's hand. So they're kind of like a living compulsory device. Gomazoa. Gomazoa is nice. He's a 2/1 cast cost, so 2 any 1 blue. Defender and flying. When it blocks, you can defend, or whenever it blocks, you can tap it and return it and the opponent's creature attacking back to the decks and shuffle them. So it's kind of like a super grand mole. So I run 2 of that into the Royal. It's an instant. I can pay 2 to return a target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If it's kicked, I get to draw a card. So it's not too bad. For 2, I get, to return, and for 4, I get to return and draw, which might put me in an advantage. Okay, Mana Leak. It's a counter spell. Costs 1, excuse me, 1 blue, 1 any. It says counter target spell, unless its caster pays an additional 3. So I run 4 of those. That's just a new printed one because it got a reprint. Okay, Spell Pierce. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. Before, this wasn't the greatest of cards, but now in the game that runs Planeswalkers, I think it's a lot better. You wait until they tap out for Jace the Mind Sculptor and then cast it so they can't pay the 2, and then counter Jace the Mind Sculptor. I mean, it's an excellent move. So I run 3 of these. That's my personal preference. People will probably tell me that's bad, but I like it. Okay, then 3 negates. The counter target non-creature spell. It's not with payments or anything, so, they cost 2. So it's just an instant stop. Okay, 1 Preordain. I need 4 of these. I only own 1 so far. Scry allows you to look at the top 2 cards of your library, decide that if you put them on the top in any order or on the bottom, and then you get to draw a card. So yes, in other words, that sounds vaguely familiar. It sounds like Pot of Duality. Aside from your opponent doesn't get to see, you get to use unlimited of them in a turn. You don't stop any of your summons or anything like that. And this is a 25-cent common. Just something to consider, that this is MTG, and this is basically Pot of Duality. So, it's just with 2 cards instead of 3, but who cares? Okay, See Beyond. Draw 2 cards, shuffle a card from your hand into your library. A better version of Graceful Charity. I'm running those in instead of Preordain. I have 3 of those. Okay, another filler monster coming up. This guy, if you have an equip on it, you get a 2/2 cat token onto the battlefield for an equipment on it. I only run one equipment in the deck, but these are going to be planeswalkers. The same with this Angelic Arbiter. It'll be a Venser the Sojourner. This will be a Venser the Sojourner. This will be an Elspeth Terrell, the new one from Scars. So don't even pay attention to those. Those are just going to be walkers. And then the other one, and then probably one of the Aether Adepts and that Cat Soldier are going to more than likely be the two Sun Titans. Like I said, I'll be getting those tomorrow. Journey to Nowhere is an enchantment. It just removes from play a creature that you put it on. But if it leaves the battlefield, the creature's returned back. So it's kind of nice. So I run 3 of those. Okay. Wall of Omens. It's a 2-cost 0/4 wall. When it enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card. You blink that with Venser so it goes out of play, comes into play, and you get yourself free draws. So 3 of those. One of my attacks, Soul Parry, because I like it. Prevent all damage 1 or 2 target creatures will deal this turn. So they're kind of nice. I'm running those because I don't have some of the nicer stuff right now for the blue-white deck. Day of Judgment. Just got these. They're mandatory in blue-white. They cost 4, destroy all creatures. So they're kind of like Dark Holes. So 2 of those. Okay, Sword of Body and Mind. That's the one that gives you free tokens and gives you +2/+2 and all that other stuff. And then lands. This is just a fancy land. Dual land that if it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. So if you play that first turn, you can add one of either Mana D or Mana Pool. See Chrome Coast. And it's got beautiful artwork, which you really can't see too well, so I'm sorry about that. And then the rest are lands. So that's the blue-white deck. It's still in the process, and that deck, for MTG players, like I said, hopefully you skipped to the 9-minute and 50 mark. For Yu-Gi-Oh players, I hope some of the discussion helped. Like I said, I like to play all kinds of card games. If Naruto were actually a little bit... I don't like the anime, making that clear. I'm not a Narutard or whatever. Or, no offense to those who like Naruto, I cannot get into it. I've tried. Profusely so, time and time again. But the card game itself, I've played, and I like the mechanics of the actual card game. So, I play card games as a hobby, not just Yu-Gi-Oh! I play all kinds of card games, and I'm willing to try almost any one. I have Pokemon decks. I mean, I really do. If I had Naruto cards and there's more of a thrill for the area for it, I would play Naruto. So, I'm just letting you guys know that. So, I hope you enjoyed this Magic the Gathering crossover section. I hope the video quality wasn't too bad because I recorded it kind of quickly. And said what I want to say, and I apologize for the length of the video. Alright, well that's all, and I hope everyone has a good day, and Happy New Year's early to everyone, because I probably won't be making videos until afterwards. Alright, peace YouTube. Later.